caramelized apples.
Only one of those.
First off, pork chop. Whenever you cook pork, make sure you take it out of the fridge for at least 5 minutes before you cook
Remember,
it.
guys.
It gets up to room temperature, and then it stops the pork from being dry. The most amazing thing about pork is that it needs to be seasoned twice. Once before you cook it, and second as you're cooking it. Nicely season it, salt, pepper, both sides. Mop up the seasoning. This fat here, beautiful. Once that's caramelized,
the salt.
it keeps the pork nice and moist. Let that sit there for 5 minutes before we cook it. It makes it so much tenderized.
So first you say
that's happened with you, like you did.
and then you say you never eat street food. WTF duck meat is like upgraded pork and some street food
get the pan
is
nice and hot
super
first. A teaspoon of olive oil. Hold the pork by the bone and place it inside. That's the noise you want to hear. 90 seconds each side. Lift it up, turn it over. Caramelize both sides. Really important. Take the pork and tilt it and let the pan literally do the work. Stand the pork up. That way it cooks the back of the pork, starts to render the fat, and more importantly, the more fat you render, the more flavoursome that pork is.
True, actually.
Normally, they'll take between 7 and 8 minutes to cook. Once the pork is coloured, a couple of knobs of butter, and you baste that pork. And that butter's giving the pork a really nice nut brown flavour now. By basting the pork, you're adding more texture, and more importantly, you're stopping it from going dry. After 3 minutes, turn it over and do the same to this side. You take it out, you let it rest. Now that's not cooked, but as it rests there, it'll continue cooking. Drain out the pan, teaspoon of oil, some minced garlic,
that I need,
chopped shallots, and this is where we start to make the most amazing sauce. Caramelize the garlic and the shallots, deglaze the pan. Basically, it's going to wash the bottom of the pan and give that amazing flavour to your sauce. Once you start to see the colour of those shallots and garlic changing, calvados in.
Holy shit!
Tilt the pan. And singe your eyebrows. Reduce that alcohol. Really important to burn that off. And now look at the colour. Once you reduce the alcohol, from there, you take a touch of chicken stock. Reduce all that calvados down, and this is where the sauce starts to go up.
Oh my god.
Cook it out for 2 minutes, let it reduce. Right, stock's reduced down by half. Next up, cream. That gives it that.
Okay, I'm done with it.
Importantly, it starts to
now it's terrible.
Bring that up to the boil. And what we're looking for is like a cafe au lait colour. Teaspoon Dijon mustard and a teaspoon of grain mustard. And just gently whisk that in. And look at that. Most amazing, stunning mustard sauce.
Stop with the question marks, dude. Guys, stop with the question mark, dude. If you eat Dijon mustard, dude, please go read a fucking book. Close the stream, go read a fucking book.
That sits there on a low heat for 3.5 to 4 minutes, and that pork just cooks in that sauce, stays nice and tender, and it almost relaxes and cooks at the same time. Right, next up, caramelized apples. Granny Smith apples goes brilliantly well with pork. The flavor and the acidity is incredible. Peel the apple, core the apple, and slice. 1, 2, 3. What we're gonna do now is caramelize these apples, but first off, make a caramel. Hot pan, brown sugar, star anise, cinnamon, and cloves. Lightly season the apples. Salt, pepper.
Why not just put caramel on them?
Once we season them,
like normal.
A tablespoon of brown sugar. The exciting thing about making a caramel is you never stir it. If you stir a caramel, it will start to crystallize. Hot pan, get the caramel melting. Once it starts to change color, we're gonna add the butter, then add our apples. Okay, apples in. After that, star anise, cloves. That starts to make the caramel really nice and fragrant.
Dude,
nice and hot.
Dude, the cinnamon, he says, fuck it, dude. Fuck it. Just throws in the, hey. Dude, he just throws in that fucking log.
Really nice and fragrant.
Just logs nice it in, dude.
Get your butter in. Ooh, Mary, they look lovely. Here we go. Wee. Now, once you pour that caramel, touch of butter in there, almost let the apples stew. So it's that kind of fragrant, spicy, sort of caramelized apple with acidity that lifts the flavor of that pork. Coming to plate it. First off, your braised cabbage. And we're gonna sit the pork on top of the cabbage. That just sits there. Next, your creamed potatoes. Lift your pork out of that sauce and sit that on.
That looks pretty good, actually.
Spoon your mustard sauce on top. Lift those caramelized apples. And then use that beautiful garnish. Take some of that amazing caramel and just glaze. And there we have the most amazing caramelized pork chop, braised cabbage, creamed potatoes, apples.
Dude,
done.
How does he do it? How does he make such dog shit dish look so good?
Hypers.
Stupid sucker. Hey, what is this?
This is a chef's dream. We're going to grill it. So with an amazing chimichurri.
Guys, just one more of Gordan. One more Gordan.
And then do a chorizo and white bean fricassee.
Thumbs up. Okay, champ.
How do you describe skirt steak? It's tender, it's soft, and it is absolutely delicious.
Oh,
it's
chill
not a
out,
steak
dude.
that you cook well done. So we season it first and marinate it. Get it up to room temperature, salt, pepper, and then we lift that flavour with this. This is magical. It's espelette. It's a really unique pepper from France, and it's spicy, it's warm, it's packed with flavour. The way it tenderizes skirt steak is incredible. Gently rub espelette into the steak. Take your knife and just literally make little inserts on top. And what this does, it sort of tenderizes the steak. Just hit the surface. Roll it over. Again, salt, pepper, olive oil, espelette, and just gently nick in, just gently, little grooves. And what happens now is that starts to open up the steak. It allows it to absorb that kind of marinade. Puts a bit of heat into the steak. It takes 4 minutes to cook. Literally 2 minutes each side.
Come on, bro.
Rest. Cook this steak at room temperature. It needs to relax. It's got a lot of muscle in there. Like I said, it's a rare cut. And there's only 3 to 4 skirt steaks from each cow, so you can see how prized it is. From there, onto the grill. Get that grill nice and warm. Make sure you've got all that marinade running through there, and then on. We do this quick.
How's that marinade? It's oil with seasoning.
At the beginning, and you don't lay that down. Take your tongs and go in between each one, all the way along. And that pushes that steak inside that grill. It's caramelizing the pepper, rendering the fat, and it's tenderizing the skirt steak so quickly. You'll see the actual marks from the grill, almost like you get a stamp on the back of a cow's butt. You own that mark, and that's the flavor. Lift up. Oh Lord, come on, seriously. Back down, lay it beautifully on there.
Is this a 21 Savage cooking
on the
stream?
other side of the butt now. In. 2 minutes each side, and then it's all about the resting. Now off she comes. Oh boy, and lay that to rest. That is it. But there's more. Now,
there's more.
Start off with your garlic. Nice pinch of rock salt. That blisters and tears up the garlic so quickly. A touch of sugar from there. Base in, and then just hammer down.
Crush it, baby.
And that rock salt and that sugar starts to create a reaction. It breaks down the garlic so quickly. In seconds, you've got this amazing puree, and the sugar takes away from the harshness of the garlic. And look, in seconds, you've got this beautiful, coarse, rough garlic puree. From there, add fresh oregano in, fresh dill in, get your mint leaves.
In.
Just rip your mint
in,
tear it
thick,
up, and then from there, coriander, tear that up in.
Don't pull out.
Finally, to give it that nice sort of earthiness, your fresh parsley. Now, tear that in there, touch more seasoning on top, and then the zest of a lemon. So you can see we're making this fragrant, incredible chimichurri. Once you've taken all the zest off, squeeze the lemon juice in. Beautiful. Now, back in there and start mixing it up again. I don't want this super fine. I want it quite coarse. And the rock salt and the sugar starts to break down all those herbs. Beautiful. From there, olive oil. Put the olive oil into it sort of just underneath all those herbs. And then one final twist.
There's like a potion.
I mean, incredible. Once that steak has rested, bring the steak over, chimichurri on. I'm going to just spread that over the steak, nice and thinly. I don't want it too strong. I don't want it too overpowering. But I'm just sort of masking the top of my steak. And as the steak sits and relaxes, the flavor of that chimichurri going into that skirt steak is just incredible. Push that down and let that sit there. I mean, wow, delicious. When I think of the garnish for the skirt steak, it needs to be robust. I'm gonna do like a white bean or chorizo fricassee. First off, I want to get the flavor of the
like sausage
out. So I've diced it. It goes into a cast iron pan to break down the fat.
Oh my god.
Chorizo, 35% fat, so it literally fries its own fat. And the flavor coming out of that is incredible. Shallots in, garlic in, let that cook out. The shallots and garlic are absorbing all that flavor from the chorizo. Amazing. Now, in with the beans. I want these beans
ruined it.
Nice and waxy.
Ruined it.
Bring this little fricassee together. As the pan starts to get dry underneath, a couple of tablespoons of chicken stock in. That looks incredible. Now bring that up to the boil, turn down the gas, and start dropping in my rainbow chard. That gives it a really nice sort of zinc.
Beans are
like
horrible.
Great, robust spinach. Fold that in and let that cook out. And once all that stock is reduced, the beans absorb that stock and it just becomes a really nice, delicate sort of fricassee. How do we get that even richer? Touch of butter off with the gas and just drop in little cubes of butter around, and then look, just fold in that butter, and as that butter melts, it just puts another layer of richness into those beans.
Who the fuck are you, Pop? I did.
Butter and makes it so tasty. Great. Time to serve. First off, take those beans onto the plate with the skirt.
Butter.
Slice very carefully down. Just look inside there, how pink and juicy and tender that is. Lift that up. Just place that around your beans and take a teaspoon.
Oh my god.
Just hit the plate and then one final hit over the top. It's cascading down. That is my insight to the chef's secret to why the skirt steak is chef's #1 dream cut. Beautiful.
That actually looks like the absolute juice. Last one, please watch this, dude. Stop making the noise.